One TARDIS Guy 123 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the classic Earthshock, a classic 5th Doctor story featuring the grand return of the Cybermen after 7 years, as they were last in it in Revenge of the Cybermen 7 years before this. And well, that's not exactly the best of stories, but this one is quite widely acclaimed to be a very good Cyberman story. More on that in a bit, but first let's look at the packaging. Standard stuff. This is quite an old DVD release. You've got BBC there, just the BBC logo. Doctor Who Earthshock. You got the Cyber Leader right here with Earth in the background, and then Adric sort of like fading away behind that. PG. Then on the side here, no To Entertain logo on this one because this is quite an early release. And then moving on to the back here, you have some pictures up there. Earthshock by Eric Saywood, commentary by the 4 regulars. That's actually quite a nice commentary. I do like the commentaries with that particular TARDIS crew. I think the 5th Doctor commentaries are probably the best commentaries out there. It's just so fun to see the dynamic working and whatnot between the actors, and it really is a lot of fun, those commentaries. So yeah, if you're into commentaries, then I recommend this TARDIS team putting the shock into Earthshock, which is a standard documentary really, and CGI effects, take it or leave it. I personally think they stick out a bit. I don't think I've watched the CGI effects for this one before, but anyway, location, film sequences, and some other stuff on that as well. Now, taking a look on the inside here. No booklet, I'm afraid. It did come with one, probably. I don't know. This is a very old release for me. One of the first DVDs I got, actually. So it wouldn't surprise me if I lost a booklet to someone or something. And also, you can probably tell it's quite old because it is quite beat up. In fact, that still seems to be a continuing trend, because when I got this out earlier to watch it, I ended up dropping the case on the floor, which I don't know why. I don't normally do that, but anyway, that happened, and you do have just a standard disc right there. So that's the inside. I apologise once again for not having the booklet, but just the way it is, I'm afraid. So then, my thoughts on Earthshock itself as a story. Well, let's start off with the Cybermen in this, because they are a bit emotional, and Last of the Cybermen did kind of explain that, I guess. Not to go on to that story, however, I'll review that eventually, but Earthshock itself, beyond that, you know, it's a strong story. It's a very solid story, I will say. Bit overrated, yes, but still a very good story. Yeah, the Cybermen in this are very different to what they were before. Obviously, it's been 7 years. They're an improvement, however, on the Revenge of the Cybermen ones. I quite like the idea of the mouth bit as well in this design aspect, where it's sort of like a bit of human remains, whatever. Well, basically sort of like a remnant of their former humanity that's left there. That's very nice. I like how that's used there instead of the standard, just sort of like a line right there. And also, other stuff-wise, David Banks is very good as a cyber leader, very strong and powerful. That voice is incredible and very sort of like, it just instantly connotes Cybermen, really. When you hear that voice, you instantly think Cybermen. And you know, they've had many different voices. The Daleks have mainly stayed the same in both design and voice. The Cybermen have been very different throughout the years in both of those things. The whole excellent thing, it's sort of like become a catchphrase and a bit of a joke as well, in the idea that they're not supposed to feel emotions. So yeah, not too sure about that myself, but I can forgive it, I guess, because, you know, the story itself is rather strong. And let's start off with part 1, because part 1's probably the best part of this, because it's very sort of like mysterious. You've got the cave settings, and then it must have been a real shock when the Cybermen was suddenly revealed at the end, because it was very much kept secret at the time. They were offered a Radio Times cover but turned it down. So that's all very good, and it sort of like builds up to that shocking reveal of the Cybermen at the end there, and which was very nicely built towards. And it's nice to have the androids there as well instead. And there's some quite creepy stuff going on there. The remains of the humans that the androids leave behind is quite, well done, I guess. It's very gruesome, and, you know, it's surprising that they got away with that, really. Just sort of like a bubbling puddle is what's left, with a name tag in it, so, yeah, that's quite gruesome stuff there. And also, I like the monitor thing, where it sort of like shows all the life signs and then they start flickering out one by one. That's very nice. I like how that all worked. And then part 2, it gets a bit slowed down. It's sort of like the part that's just building up to the reveal of the Cybermen themselves to the Doctor. They've been revealed to the audience, but the Doctor doesn't know about them yet. So that's sort of like what that's building up towards. One problem I do have with it, well, not with the, I think it was part 3 actually, that I have this problem with, is the characters on the ship. The characters on the ship are a bit dull, to be honest, and, you know, it's sort of like the second in command to the captain, I don't know, her character just seems extremely inconsistent. One minute she's sort of like supporting the Doctor, the next minute she's saying, I'll throw them in the brig, and then she just keeps changing, and it's just incredibly inconsistent. That's something I'm not overly fond of there. But other than that, I guess it's not too bad. But I much prefer the characters that are sort of like on the that they found on Earth, and they're sort of like left hanging around for the rest of this story. I'm not sure if they were really necessary, and perhaps if they didn't go with them, it could have provided Nyssa a bit more to do, since Nyssa very much drew the short stick here and ended up being a companion who stayed in the TARDIS for the majority of the story, which is rather unfortunate for her, because Nyssa was a great companion. But, you know, with the full TARDIS team, you do often end up having one sacrificed for whatever reason. And, you know, it seems to often end up being Nyssa, because it was also her in Kindle, and in that one she had even less to do. She was just sort of like written out entirely, which is rather disappointing, but, you know, that's just the way it is, I guess, when it comes to these things. So yeah, maybe if they didn't take the crew with them, it would have given Nyssa a bit more to do. I'm not sure what exactly she could have done in that place, because obviously she couldn't go around with guns shooting Cybermen down. But yeah, maybe something could have been done there. And, you know, well, I do like the commander of that group. I think, other than that, well, he's the only real character of the group, and there's also the girl who's with Nyssa. But, well, I like his character. I feel that he wasn't necessarily a good idea to keep him on. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that side of the story. And now on to the Fifth Doctor, Peter Davison, probably giving one of his strongest performances in his early tenure. He very much gets to the height of his powers during Frontios and the Caves of Androzani. Those two stories are very good for Peter Davison, but here, during his sort of like earlier half, he still does a very good job as ever, and this sort of like shows a lot about his Doctor, and sort of like facing off against the Cybermen really does do wonders for his character, I feel. Sort of like shows that they are a serious threat, the Cybermen, more serious than the ones he's faced before. You really do get that feeling here, that this is sort of like the Fifth Doctor's greatest threat so far, and Peter Davison does play that wonderfully, and sort of like the look on his face during certain scenes, like when the Cyber Leader orders a Cyberman to shoot Tegan. It's all very good, that bit, I feel. So, very good performance by Peter Davison there. And then Tegan herself, yeah, I guess she's good in this as well. I already mentioned this as sort of like being locked up in the TARDIS. Sarah Sutton is a wonderful actress, but unfortunately in this story she doesn't get to do too much. And then we come to Adric, and of course I'm going to go into fairly big spoilers. I think probably almost everyone knows what happens in this. So if you don't, you should probably buy this story actually, because if you still don't know, then you really should watch it and sort of have that surprise for yourself. That basically he blows up, rather pointlessly actually, which is quite interesting, because he could have easily gotten away. There was it's not really a heroic sacrifice of sorts. It's just kind of like he goes back to try and sort out what's going on, and also it would have crashed anyway and done what I did whether he was on it or not. So that's quite an interesting idea of sort of like his death being rather pointless, and I think that's actually forgotten in Time Flight when the Doctor goes he died trying to save the planet or whatever. I don't know, just sort of like, because if he did succeed then well, humanity wouldn't exist probably, or at least not in the way we thought of it, because the ship would crash, the ship wouldn't crash into Earth, and the dinosaurs would still be around. Well, something else probably would have happened that got rid of them. But yeah, that's just the way it is. It's quite a powerful scene actually, and the music that plays at the end, and sort of like the Doctor, Tegan and Nissa's reaction, and once again, as I say, Peter Davis's performance is wonderful during that. It's sort of like, it's nothing over the top, it's just sort of like that subtle look where you feel like he's failed, and it's sort of like the Fifth Doctor's greatest failure is sort of like not being able to save Adric, which is probably the point of it, really. I said it was pointless earlier, but I meant pointless in the fact that he could have gotten away, but for the impact on the Fifth Doctor himself, that's probably the strongest thing, and of course Adric is his last word before he regenerates. So you sort of like feel that this is a story that very much leaves an impact on the Fifth Doctor, and Tegan and Nyssa too to an extent, so that's very nice how that ends up working out. I think that's all there really is to say about Earthshock overall. What would I give it? Probably a 8 out of 10, I think is a good rating for this story. I do think it's rather overrated, but at the same time I do still enjoy it a lot. So yes, 8 out of 10 for Earthshock. Thank you for watching everyone, and I will see you all next time I guess. Bye everyone.